Hi, everyone.
Hi.
We're back again. And what we wanted to talk about today, we often talk about the relationship between our thinking and our relationship with food. And we were listening to a colleague of ours discuss how he came across this understanding and some of the kind of a turning point for him in terms of understanding thinking and his relationship with the world and how that affected his inner experience, his sense of calm and peace and stability in life. So what he was saying was that he used to look at his thinking simply for its content, helping him navigate the world. And it's certainly good for that. We have an amazing intelligence, this brain, to be able to help us navigate the world. I mean, to get me from here to Costco without having to learn it all over again, remember how to tie my shoes, to be able to put together a business plan, a business strategy. I mean, it's just amazing how important and useful our thinking is. But what he was saying, what I've been reflecting on, is that all of that thinking is basically helping me navigate in the world, the outside world. But all of my interaction with the world, all the choices I make in the world, are kind of with the intention to make me feel good, to help me experience more joy and love and happiness in my life. And that experience of life is on the inside. There's the outside navigating everything. And my experience, which then determines my choices on the outside to try and bring me back to a better feeling if I'm not feeling good. All of that is what's driving my experience of life. And we shared an example, I think it was last week, about the roller coaster and how two people can be on a roller coaster and one of them is terrified. Their experience of life is, this is terrible. And the other person is exhilarated. This is one of the most fun things I've ever done. Our experience of life, our experience of what is happening, isn't what's happening. We don't experience what's happening. We experience our thinking about what's happening. Sure. This is terrible or this is fun. Our thinking creates the feeling. And the feeling is what's driving our experience of life. I mean, isn't that when I say life is good, I'm not talking about the circumstances, I'm talking about how I feel. And I may tie it to my circumstances because I'm telling myself these are good circumstances, so I feel good. But life is an inner experience. It's on the inner. So what if our thinking actually has two components? The one component, that of the content, to help us navigate the outer world. So if I don't like roller coasters, I don't go on them again. That's great. But what if there's another component, that feeling component that comes with the thinking? And that can actually help us navigate the inner world of experience. The content helps us navigate the outer world that I'm engaged in. And what if the feelings are actually like a GPS, like a guidance system to help me move toward what I'm always looking for, more peace, more joy, more enjoyment, more love, more closeness.
The one thing I'd like to make clear is that our feeling actually falls out of our thinking. They are intimately connected, even though we're not always aware of that.
Yeah. And so when I understand that there are two components to thinking, one is that it creates these feelings that fall out of it, and the other is that it gives me ideas on how to navigate the outer world. But if I look at this second component and realize I can actually use it to help guide me in my inner experience. I'll give you an example of that. It's like I've begun to understand this more and more, so that now when I get triggered, instead of getting caught up in all that thinking about, okay, let's say I get triggered waiting in line at the grocery store, and I'm in a hurry, and I've got the shortest line, and then this person ahead of me needs a price check, and it's taking forever. So all of a sudden, all this feeling starts coming up. Well, what I've noticed now, instead of trying to rely on that content aspect of my mind to find more happiness, oh, I should find a shorter line, oh, this shouldn't be happening. When I notice the feeling is coming up of tension and dissatisfaction, I pause to look at what is it that I'm thinking that these feelings may be falling out of.
Yes.
And almost always, the thought has an aspect of this shouldn't be happening.
Right.
I shouldn't have to wait this long. They shouldn't have picked up that box that doesn't have a what do they call it? USB code, whatever it is. All that thinking is a resistance to just accepting what is. So that's kind of conceptual in a way, but what I've noticed is that the way it helps me get back to balance, get back to a sense of well-being, is when I begin to feel this tension. I don't like this roller coaster ride. Instead of trying to get away from the experience, I pause for a moment and I just kind of let go of that thought about this shouldn't be happening. When I'm no longer kind of attaching to this shouldn't be happening, things start to settle out.
Yeah, when the resistance gets less and less, and we accept what's occurring, life gets very simple.
My inner experience begins to change. So that was a really valuable seeing. When we begin to understand, and this is what we've been saying for a number of years now with you, when we begin to understand that we're always feeling our current thinking. This is just kind of a little more detail about how it is that thinking, if it's resisting what is, if it's resisting something that's happening, it tends to put us into this tension where we're trying to escape and then we're trying to manage things out there to feel better. But what if looking out there to feel better isn't where the solution is? What if the solution to feeling better in any moment when we're upset, feeling tense, feeling stressed, feeling angry, what if that lies in looking at what we're holding on to, what we're telling ourselves, that story of this shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't have said that to me. That guy shouldn't have opened his door on my car and dented it. All those thoughts that get us going. If we're resisting what's happening, that creates the tension. So can we use this understanding that if I'm feeling tension and I'm looking for a way out, I don't look out there. I look in here, that this is where the solution lies. I look in here to see, what am I resisting? Can I let that go for a moment? Can I just be here?
And as you let that go and settle more within, the wisdom often comes up with an immediate solution that works for you and everyone involved.
That's a good point, too. Yeah. Now, we've all experienced this, haven't we? We're kind of really tense and we're trying to figure it out and we just can't figure it out and we give up. We go, oh, I'm not going to get it. And that, too, is like that moment of pause where I let go of the attachment that I've got to figure it out because this shouldn't be happening. I can't figure it out. And in that quiet mind that follows, it's like, oh, well, why don't I do this? It's like something comes to me instead of me going after it. Yeah, life is interesting. Isn't it? Yeah.
So we wanted to give you an update on.
Well, I just want
Oh,
to,
go
just to
ahead.
kind of summarize, I just want to say, so what we're looking at, I guess to summarize what I've been wanting to say, is that thought has two components, and it's the feeling component of thought that can help us navigate the inner world of experience, help us to navigate our reality on the inside, which is really what's the most important thing to me. Okay.
Good. So with the 7-day juice cleanse we just did, there are two things that I think are important that we've taken away from it. One is we were never hungry, never once. And so it really allows us to reflect on what our food habits, where they're coming from. Is it really true I'm hungry? Or if I'm reaching for food and I'm not hungry, we really see it's a habit. Has nothing to do with the food, actually, or with real hunger. And the other thing is healing. When you do a juice cleanse for 7 days or longer, it's amazing what it does to the body and shows you the power the body has to heal. Things you wouldn't expect changing, change. Like I had a couple of old age marks on my face that just fell away. Yeah, that was really good. And if you're in any kind of pain, it can really help that as well.
And that's why we started. I was having pain in my neck, and 2 days in, it's like, where's the pain?
Yeah, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to give you a recipe of a creamy dill dressing, oil-free, salt-free, sugar-free, but yummo. And you can find that below. Give it a try. It's great on greens, it's great on salads, it's great on cooked veggies or raw.
And you're bringing that up about the juice fast and really seeing how many habits we have about food. Just to link what I was saying about the feelings coming up. And instead of looking outside for how to change how I feel, look inside to see what I'm believing that isn't really true about what's going on. Well, the value of all of this, in our opinion, the reason we got started in it is because we so often use food as that outside solution.
Yes.
We look outside ourselves for the solution, and food seems like a logical thing because with a little dopamine hit, we do feel better.
Yeah.
But it's not a real, it's not a real fix. It doesn't really anchor us in our well-being. It just changes our mood a little bit. But if we see how thinking is related to feeling and how the negative feelings are always some form of resistance, then we can start undoing it at that level. So we aren't in that place of tension, not knowing what to do and looking for food for relief.
Yeah, and how we undo it, just review again, is we just get quiet. Just take a deep breath or breath. Sit for a moment, let your mind settle. And then new wisdom can come from within as to what's next.
Make a huge difference in our lives.
Yeah.
It has for us.
True.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us. Bye for now.